Hi guys, in this particular section we are going to talk about pipes in Angular, and I'm going to get started with a new project. So I'm just going to use the Angular CLI, call it ng uh, new and the name of the app. So I'll just type it my pipes demo. Now, a little theoretical background on pipes is that it's we already have looked at a kind of an MVC pattern where there is a controller in place in Angular. We don't really call it controller, but call it component, and the classes have the methods that can manipulate it. And so I'll just make you see one component possibly that we already did create. So typically the component is going to have those methods and properties right over here. So you can call this as a controller. We have a view associated which is in the template, and we call it as app component.html. So this is the view part of the page. So the component is going to serve as a model. I mean, it has some properties. You can pour in some data, has some methods, and these methods would be more like a controller methods that manipulate this data. For example, as of now, I'm using an Ajax call to populate the this.todos, which is nothing but an array of to-dos. So you can divide up your code into these concerns. You can keep the template part in the view. You can have your model values right over here, and because it is a class, the state and the methods that manipulate that state, they kind of integrated together, right? But I mean, it's kind of really easy to separate the concerns, isn't it? Now, what we are going to talk about is very specifically associated with a view, and that's what a pipe is. Now, suppose you have some values to display in your application, and then you want to display them in some specific format. It doesn't really need any functionality as a business functionality. What we can do is we can simply use it in the view and what we refer to as pipes. So let's just get started with the pipes right here. So I just created my pipes demo right here. I just created it outside. I'll just move inside the folder. Maybe we'll just not done that. So copy the path, and I'll just issue this command one more time. Delete it from the outside. Now this is obviously going to take some time, but meantime that happens. I'm just going to introduce to how do you use pipe. So suppose this is the text that you wanted to display, and you might just wanted to display in an uppercase. Now using a pipe is just using a pipe symbol like this and just specifying how do you really want to do it. And likewise, suppose there is something called as date maybe. Suppose this is to do dot date maybe. Then I can just use a date pipe and use some parameters to specify what kind of date. One of the parameters that I know of is a short date that I really want to display. And this is going to, the same date itself is just going to present in a short date format. So I would say that, pipes mostly also act as formatters of the data. We'll see how they kind of filter data, but, to put it in the right words, they're going to be acting as filters and formatters. With the previous versions of Angular, they have been calling it as filters, but now the terminology has changed and we use pipe instead of filters. So let's take a short look at what are the pipes available. We'll also learn how to create a custom pipe ourselves. So once the project is generated, my pipes demo is here. I'm going to go log into this project, and I'm going to start the project by using the ng-serve command. I just said ng server, so it's going to be ng serve, and my pipe demo is right here. It's just a C project again, and has some values being displayed over here. So we'll again modify this. We'll not need the list right over here, and maybe this is not required anymore. And I'll just remove this as well. Now suppose the first thing that I really wanted to do is just display the title in an uppercase. Now remember, title is a value which is displayed in the view, but it comes from the component TS where it is defined as a property. So it just comes as an app. Maybe I just wanted to display this in a capitalized format. Let's see what is the value displayed right now. So I can just go to localhost 4000, and you notice it just displays welcome to the app in all short letters, isn't it? So what I can do is I can just go over here in the view part. And remember, I said pipes are things that are always associated with views. We're going to have a theoretical discussion around what really happens with pipes, but as of now, the intention is to how to use it. So let's just make it uppercase. Now remember, the expression on the left hand side is going to be taken over as a value and applied to the uppercase. Now it's an already existing pipe, so you'll see app has been converted into all capital letters. Now let's see if we already had something available. We'll just have some few more properties here. So I'll just use a message and a string value in this message. Remember, it's TypeScript. Don't forget to specify values. It's not mandatory, but it's going to make your programs throw up errors at the compile time itself. That's the whole intent of using TypeScript. Otherwise, it is of no benefit. So I can just type in here, welcome to my session. And remember, these characters are jumbled up together. Now, I just wanted to display this in a lowercase format. So how do I do that? I mean, to display this, I can just go to the HTML and possibly create another H2, and I'm just going to display the message. I mean, the same property, I can just use it straight away in the template. And if I just display it like that, it just displays whatever you've written there. But you can change this, of course. And what you can really do is you can change it to lowercase, like so. And it's everything in lowercase there. Now these are already available pipes. Now let's just take a few more examples of date as well. So I'm going to create a date type in here, and I can type in here date. I mean, maybe today as type date. To be a value new date maybe. And that's it. So it's going to be giving me the current date as of now. And to use it, of course, I can just display one more line here, call it date. I mean, it's not date, but today. And that's the same variable that I use there, right? So it displays me, kind of a long date, GAMT 5:30 Indian Standard Time. It's not what I really want possibly. I just wanted to display a short date. And like I said, you can use a pipe. It's for formatting the output that's already available on the view. And how do I do that? So I can just use the pipe symbol and call it date. And the moment you do that, right, it's going to automatically give us the date right over here. But you also wanted to display, some more, date in a different format maybe. Then you can use parameter, call it short date, and notice the date changed. It's displaying the time as well. You can make it medium range and displays in a different format altogether. So there are already available parameters, but if you just really want, you can convert this as well. Now let me also make you see the documentation for this pipes. And using that, we can, I think, modify our parameters over here. Of course, there is something called as long as well. So if you do that, that's again the longer format of the date. So you can just use one of these things to manipulate and format your output. Now let's just go back to the component TS file, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to specify here the before that, I think I just forgot to mention the documentation. So go to AngularPipes in the guide pipes part, and then you'll notice there is a built-in pipes available. So we can parameterize the pipe, and you notice this particular format. So I can use an MMDDYY if I just wanted to display in this particular format. So go to the pipes. And use this format now. So I'm not really using a long. I can just build up my own format. And when you do that, it's going to display the month, the day, and the year. And then of course you can rotate this back. So You want it in an Indian format, possibly. You'll just type this, and you wanted the year to display in a full 4-year digit format. You can just specify 5 by 4 times, and it just displays it according to your format. So it's just depending on what your users need, and what are the expectation from a locale point of view. You can display and format the data according to the likes of the user. So that's one of the things about using pipes. Remember, it's always associated with the view. Don't confuse between a view and the functionality present here. I mean, you could have just created a method that would convert this message into a 2 lowercase using JavaScript right over here, but that's not the part of the view itself. Formatting is just happening to the view. Once your data has been manipulated and then it is thrown to the view, and you can use the pipes to just format the data in the way it has to be presented to the user, to the end user. Okay, so this is a little about pipes, and just coming back to the documentation. I think I'm in the wrong place, possibly, because I just wanted to make you see the pipes. So possibly you need to go to the APIs and then search around for pipes. So there are going to be a lot of things, of course, from here, but let me just search. So you notice there is pipes available right over here, and we have currency pipe, we have date pipes, we have decimal pipes. Decimal meaning when we want to display your numbers in a particular format. So let's just try and use something from here. So I'm going to go down to the decimal pipe. We'll just try and use everything from here. So you can display the digits and you can specify the locale as well right over here. So for example, you just wanted to display a number, and you can specify the number type, but then you can also specify values like this. Remember, so once you specify the number, the default output is going to display with possibly 3 digits, but you can specify that you need 5 digits right over here. So numbers in 3-digit format. So 2 has been converted to 002, so that displays in 3-digit format, and numbers in the and decimals in the range 1 to 5. So it's 5 right over here, and then when you specify 5 to 5, that means it's always going to display 5. If need be, it's going to append some zeros after that. But in this particular case, you notice that it has 4, and it has automatically applied this comma right over here. So that's how you possibly are going to display using the number pipe. And let's take a few more examples from here. Yeah, just convert this into a pipe and then see it. Yeah, so this is more clear now. Let's just, we've already seen that lowercase and uppercase pipe. There's hardly anything in this. Slice you can use to slice some values, and let's just use the slice pipe as well. So you can take an expression, specify a value from start to end. End is optional, of course, but you can do that, and that should give you, a letter. For example, you have some values over here, and then you wanted to slice from 1 to 3. When you slice 1 to 3, it's going to look out for index 0, 1, which is start from here, and then just the third. So 1, 2, so 0, 1, 2, 3, which means B and C only, and so it produces this output. You can do 2 strings as well, and which means let's just try something. So I think we have this string. Copy this in our application, and we'll see how to use pipes. A simple version, so that you don't really get confused with this. So if I just wanted to use the pipes over here, I'll just type in here string, and the name of the pipe, which is of course slice, and let's start this with index 1. And you notice what A is gone from here, and the rest of the strings display. But if you just specify here another value 2, I just didn't really use it in the right way. And then you notice it just displays B over here, which means I said 1 to 2, and then you can increase up the values. I can just type in here 5. So, it's just going to trim from 1 to 5. That's how the pipes are going to work, right? And so that's a slice pipe. Let's go on to more examples on the built-in ones first, and then we'll come down to the later ones. So, I mean, the important ones are here. Let's just talk about the date pipe as well. I mean, we've used this already, but I haven't really given you the formats available right here. So, with formats, you have these available. So, you can just use short, long, full, short date, only just dates, get like a medium date, medium time rather. So, if I just use here in the date format, just medium time as a parameter, and you'll notice that the date then displays only just time, not the date itself, isn't it? So, quite easy to use these pipes as far as the built-ins are concerned. Now, the last one possibly, I mean, you can try all these yourselves, is the title case pipe. Now, what does title case do? I'm not sure. I've seen it for the first time as well. So, it takes in a string value, possibly converts this into okay. So, capitalize this the first letter. So, let's just see. I mean, I'm just going to have a string. I mean, you can hard code it here as well. So, I'm just going to type in here. When is it going to rain? Now remember, I've just mixed up the capitals and the small letters, but I just wanted to maybe capitalize this right here and keep the rest of them as lowercase. So if I just display as of now, it's going to display without pipes. And so let's go down to the output. So it just displays as it is. But can I just convert it into lowercase? And it all displays in lowercase. And then there is something called as chaining of pipes. I can use this, the output of this, which is all lowercase string values, into another pipe, which I'll call it as the name of the pipe itself, title case pipe. Now remember, title case pipe is this title case. And I'll just use this here. And it's going to capitalize the first letter over here. So it capitalizes the first letter, and then we have got this working as well. Okay, so well, it's still not to our liking because it just has capitalized all the letters. Now that's where comes in need for you to create your own pipes. So maybe what I really wanted was to keep all these letters as small letters, but just only the first letter capitalized. Then possibly, if your requirement is not met by the already existing and available pipes, you'll need to create one yourself. Now that's when we are coming down to creating a custom pipe. So let's do some examples on doing pipes ourselves. So I'm just going to go down here and create a custom pipe. How do we do that? So let's just create a folder right over here. I mean, we'll just do it without the folder first time. And I just wanted to create a capitalized pipe, maybe, right? Let's give it that name. So I'll just call the new file as capitalize dot. Now it's not going to be a component. We have been creating components so far, but because we're creating a pipe, a different artifact, we're going to make it like pipe and .ts. Now remember, I have the plugin available for creating me some boilerplate code, and it can just be ag pipe, right? If you're not really sure about the plugin, I mean, I have got this installed Angular 5 TypeScript, and these are like code snippets. So you go down here, and then I think you can specify here ag pipe. It's going to give you a pipe snippet already created. So I'll just type this, and I think I should get a snippet created. So let's just type ag-pipe, and you notice what? So it needs an annotation pipe. It needs a name. So we'll call it as capitalized pipe, maybe, and or maybe just not capitalized. This is name it as capitalized, simpler and easier name. and then I'm going to use here the name of the pipe as to be capitalized pipe. Now remember, the names of the classes are always going to be capital letters. Now it by default is going to implement a pipe transform interface. This comes in from the Angular core API itself. So the method itself then contains the value, and you can specify the type of the value. So since it's capitalized, we're targeting only strings, isn't it? So I'll just specify strings, and I'll not as of now use any argument. So I'll just keep it as any type, and we'll not use it as of now, maybe. So I just need to implement this transform method to be able to work with this pipe. Now, what really happens is whatever is on the left hand side of the pipe. Now, how do you use the pipe first of all? Let's go down to the usage, and then I'll tell you what the values and what the arguments are going to be. So as far as the usage is concerned, I'm going to be using this over here somewhere. So another H2 like this, there are already built-in pipes available, but I can use here a pipe called capital. Well, just as programmers, we always have a good practice of copying and pasting. It always works without any errors. So I just wanted to capitalize this, isn't it? Maybe I'll do what? I'll convert this all into lowercase first, and then use the pipe capitalize. But capitalize the pipe is not available. If you just run it right now, it's going to complain because we've defined it, but we have not let our modules know about this pipe. Now, how do we do that? So we'll go down to the module TS and make an entry for the pipe. Now, in the declaration sections, it's easier rather. So I'll just type in here capitalize pipe. It's here. And the moment you do this, it's going to do an import from the respective class. And I think now I have specified that in the module, I'm going to use this pipe. Now I can use this pretty much right over here. And it doesn't really display any output. It's because of the fact that I've not implemented anything in the pipe. Now let's do something. So I'm going to console.log the value. Let's see what do we get as a value. And we get the lower letters right over here. Remember, to this string we had applied a lowercase, isn't it? So I'll just make you see this again. This value has been applied a lowercase, so it converts everything into a lowercase, and then it attempts to capitalize it. Now it is not getting capitalized because of the reason we have not implemented the pipe, but let's do that as well. So in the nutshell, the value is going to refer to the left hand side of the expression, and to be specific, this string right over here, this is represented by value. And you can change the name from value to anything. It's just a variable, but whatever comes in the transform as a first parameter is going to be the left hand side expression. And then you can do what? You can convert this value into a capitalize. Now, how do we capitalize? Like, let's see that as well. So suppose we have this string. I'll just see where str is, and I'll keep this within the string. And I'll say str dot, maybe the first letter I wanted to convert to uppercase. And so we get the W, and then I'm just going to use str dot slice, I think. Slice from 1, and then we get the rest of the string. So we're just going to concatenate this to produce what we really want. So get the first letter to uppercase, and then you'll slice this right here. Now, if you don't really want to use the lowercase as well, you can do the method here itself to lowercase, and so we get the output right. I mean, it doesn't really matter, even if it is the string value that we have. I'll just redeclare it, has a capital letter here. But when you do this, right, it's converting the rest of the string to a lowercase. So I'm sure that the R in the range is also going to get lowercase right over here. So this is the logic, isn't it? I'll just copy this logic and put it here. Now remember, str is what we are referring to as value. And you also want to check, right, if there is only a value. So I'm just going to type in here, if value, and possibly just return this from here. So let's see what happens in the capitalized pipe now. So I go down here, and then you notice what? We have the capital W, and then everything is just working as we expected. So now, even if you go down to the HTML, because we have implemented the pipe in such a way that it's already doing lowercase, I might not have to do this chaining. Just capitalize. It's going to pick the first letter, make it capitalized, trim from the first string, and we're going to convert this all into a lowercase. So it's still the same output. So that's the first implementation of a pipe. Just to repeat the steps, I created a class and implemented the pipe transform interface, give it an annotation at the red pipe, give it a name actually, and then I went to the module, defined my own declarations using the capitalize, and then I could use it in the HTML right over here. Remember, this is not an existing pipe. Lowercase is an existing pipe. Title case is an existing pipe. But capitalize is something that I have produced on my own, right? So I hope this is clear, and we'll do something more interesting with the pipes itself. Okay, so see you in the next session. I think that should be enough for the built-in pipes and how do you create custom pipes yourself.